Okay, it's the midnight hour, and I'm at Comic Book Addiction in Whitby, Ontario, Canada, and I've got my booster box of Dominaria, and this is the card, so shiny, that you get when you buy a booster box. So it's 4, a white and a mountain for 4/6, red instant and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. Whenever a white instant or sorcery spell causes you to gain life, Fire Song and Sunspeaker deal 3 damage to target creature or player. And the reason this card is significant is because this is the only way you can get this card, is to get the booster box. So some controversy around this. It used to be that you would get like an alternate art of a card that was in the set, but this is the only way to get this card. I think it's going to be big amongst the Commander players, but Standard I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. But let's go on to the main event, and that is Dominaria booster box. So we're looking for Karn, we're looking for Teferi, we're looking for Mox Amber. Any of those, possibly in foil, would be fantastic, because they would help pay for the cost of this box. And because running this channel isn't free, you know, it's fun, but it's not free. Okay, so let's get these stacks out here. Box away. Okay, oh yeah, you can hear in the background some talking. That's because the midnight pre-release is happening right now. If you didn't see the video, I did a video of my midnight pre-release opening, and it should be just like right before this video here, but we'll get right to the booster box opening, because for the first time ever, they are letting you get your booster box on dual land. Nice. Oh, and Squee the Immortal in foil. Oh, and another one, Halar the Firefletcher. Nice. Okay, so starting off strong. So yeah, you can actually get it the weekend of pre-release, which is cool. I mean, you still can't use them until next weekend when they become standard legal, but you can get your booster box on, and that's what we're doing. You can live vicariously through me, because booster boxes are not cheap. So I'll open it, and you don't have to pay. You can just enjoy watching me. Nice! Mythic Multani Yavimaya Avatar. So it's 4 and 2 forests for a legendary creature, 0/0 with reach and trample, and the avatar gets +1/+1 for each land you control in each land card in your graveyard. So as long as you didn't use like a Land of War or Elves to cast this, it's going to come in as a 6/6. And you can also pay 1 and a forest, and you don't have to tap, and return 2 lands you control to their owner's hands. Return Multani from your graveyard to your hand. That's a powerful card. Okay. Oh, Forest Knight. Okay. Next, we're not doing too badly here. This is a decent start. For sure a decent start. Apparently this package is made of titanium. Okay. Flame of Keld. Discard your hand, draw 2 cards. If a red source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player this turn, it deals that much damage +2 to that permanent or player instead. Discard your hand? This is 2 drop. You know what? I'm sure it could be built around. Oh, Forebear's Blade. Get +3/+0, has vigilance and trample, and whenever a creature dies that's attach this to another target creature I control. And oh, foil Steel Leaf Champion. Isn't that nice? And I've got a playset of the promos from Store Championship, so I can trade this away for something else. And Grun the Lonely King. If you watched my pre-release opening, you know that this is number 2 of these things. So boom, boom, and boom. This is going swimmingly. Again, not what I'm looking for exactly, but these are some quality cards that I can either play or trade to get what I want. Yes! Trade, trade, trade. Common, uncommon. Goblin War Chief. Memorial to War. Antiquities of War. I don't know about this card. We'll have to see if someone can do something with it in Standard. Oh, and Tiana Ship's Caretaker. And Seal, this thing is a bomb. And Land Sapperling.
So again, this is also a deck where...
Okay. Dauntless Bodyguard. Oh, so when it enters the battlefield, choose another creature you control. That sucks because it's a 1-drop, so you don't want necessarily this to be your first one out. But you can sack it, and then chosen creature gains indestructible till end of turn. So I guess you want to hang on to this until 4, 5, or 6 rounds. Oh! Yawgmoth's Vile Offering, legendary sorcery, 4 and a swamp. To cast a legendary sorcery, you have to control a legendary creature or planeswalker. Put up to 1 target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. Exile Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. Powerful card in sealed. This would be bomb. And Wrath Capuchin, Ship's Mage. 4-drop, 3/3 flash flying. Oh, Shanna Sisay's Legacy. I got one of those in the pre-release too. I'm spoiling everything for you in my pre-release pack. That's okay. I know you'll watch it and give me thumbs up and like it and all that stuff. Okay. Nice. Nice in any format. In Bolus's Clutches. Nice. Guy's Blessing. Oh, Zahid, Djinn of the Lamp. Whew, it's expensive. 4 and 2 islands, but it's a 5/6. You pay 3 and an island and tap an untapped artifact you control rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Oh, so you can reduce the cost, and it's a flyer. Nice. Ooh, here's the 6/6 demon token. Hopefully we get to activate that bad boy sometime soon. Okay. Oh, let's see what we got. Another in Bolus's Clutches. Shield of the Realm. Dual land. Nice. Wrath Capuchin, Ship's Mage. Another one of those. And that's it. Well, it sounds like the Midnight pre-release is about to get underway. Everyone's made up their decks. We're busy opening booster boxes. Lingering Phantom. Ooh, Merfolk Trickster. 2/2 for 2 islands. Flash, and when it enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. It loses all abilities until end of turn. Powerful card. This really helps out the Merfolk deck. And Chalet, Voice of Plenty. 4 for a 3/4 with flying, and planeswalkers I control and other creatures I control have hexproof. And I can pay 4 and 2/4 to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature I control. What a beast. Ooh, Whisper Blood Liturgist. 3 and a swamp. Sacrifice 2 creatures, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh, that sounds pretty handy dandy too. Oh, Zombie Knight. Okay. Next up. Isn't this exciting? I'm going to be so tired tomorrow because it is now 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, let's get to it. Sarah Angel, Knight of Malice, Sanctum Spirit, Fungal Plots. So it's an enchantment, but I can, for 1 and a force, but I can pay 1 and a force, exile a creature card from my graveyard, create a 1/1 green Saproling creature token. I can sacrifice 2 Saprolings, gain 2 life, and draw a card. This has to be an deck made for this. And Traxxas, Scourge of Krug. It only costs 4. It's a 7/7 trample, but when it enters the battlefield, it enters tapped and doesn't untap during your untap spell. When you cast a historic spell, untap Traxxas. So historic spells are artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. Again, you got to build around that bad boy. Okay. Next up. We're just about a third of the way through the box. Oh, Puzzle Quest. Final Parting. Deep Freeze, foil. Cool. Oh, Ariel, Knight of Windgrace. 2 swamp and a plains. It's for a 4/4 with vigilance. And you can pay 2 and a plains, tap it, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. Or you can pay a swamp and tap it, tap X, untap knights you control, destroy target creature with power X or less. Cool. We'll keep that there just because it's funky looking. Okay, still no Karn, still no Teferi, still no Mox Amber. We're hunting. I love this card. Adamantine Wall, Diligent Excavator, Territorial Allosaurus. 2 and 2 forest for a 5/5 with kicker 2 in a forest. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it fights another target creature. Nice. Arvid the Cursed, 3 plains and a swamp for a 3/3 Death Touch lifelink, and other legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. Oh, you gotta have other legendary creatures to make this really worth it. But still, very cool looking. And it's a vampire and it's a knight, so you got 2 different synergies going on there. You got 2 keywords. It can be in 2 different decks. You could have the knights fighting the vampires and have that card in each deck. Okay. The Mending of Dominaria. 3 and 2 forests. So for the first 2 rounds, this is a saga. Put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And then on 3, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then shuffle your graveyard into your library. That's okay. Oh, Slyn Voda, the Rising Deep. 6 and 2 islands for an 8/8, and if it was kicked, for just 1 and a swamp, or a swamp and island, return all creatures to their owner's hands except for merfolk, krakens, leviathans, octopuses, it should be octopi, I think, and serpents. That's a powerful card, but you have to pay 10 to make it really work. That is a lot. Okay, that's 1/3 done. We're on to the second third. Oh yeah, destroy target creature. What was this? Chainer's Torment. I don't know about that one. Knight of Malice, that's a decent card. 2/2, first strike, hexproof from white for 2. Verdant Force, 5 and 3 forests. That is heavy duty, but you get a 7/7, and at the beginning of each upkeep, create a 1/1 green sapperling creature token. If you could get this down, if you're not already trounced by round 8, it's pretty good. Rona, Disciple of Gix. So it's 1, a swamp, and an island for a 2/2, and when it enters the battlefield, exile target historic card from your graveyard. You may cast non-land cards exiled with Rona. And you can pay 4, tap it, and exile the top card of your library. Again, build around. Ooh, Nightmare Horror. Cool. Tempest Djinn. 3 islands for a 0/4, but it's a flyer and it gets +1/+0 for each basic island you control. So you gotta think it's at least coming in as a 3/4. I would like to play this. And Grun, the Lonely King. I'm starting to think this might be a bulk rare because I think this is the 3rd one I've opened now. Hopefully they're worth $50 each, but I'm betting they're probably worth 50 cents. Okay.
Oh, hold on, this hand got a lot worse. Go.
Okay. Memorial to Genius. Memorial to War. Ooh, Helm of the Host. 4, at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of equipped creature, except that the token isn't legendary. If equipped creature is legendary, that token gains haste. That could be powerful. Oh, and Danitha, Capuchin, Paragon. 2 and a plains for a 2/2 first strike, vigilance lifelink, and or an equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Too bad I don't have this pool to pick from for my pre-release. I'd have a good chance of winning. fact, if I couldn't win, there'd be a problem. Okay. Yep. Elfin Druid. Juggernaut, not a fan. Haphazard Bombardment. When it enters the battlefield, choose 4 non-enchantment permanents you don't control and put an aim counter on each of them. At the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more permanents you don't control have an aim counter on them, destroy one of those permanents at random. Expensive, and you'll only get 2 removals out of it unless you've got some kind of combat trick. Oh, and a foil mountain. And Slimefoot the Stowaway, that's number 2 of those. He's going to be joining, what's-his-face, Grun the Lonely King in the big cheap bin, I think. Ooh, the Eldest Reborn. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Each opponent discards a card. Put target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So that's cool, but it does cost 5, so it's going to be 5, 6, round 7 before you get to do that. If it's a slow format, this is a killer. Wizard's Retort. Spell costs 1 less to cast. If you control a wizard, counter target spell. Memorial to War, that's 2 of those. Evra Halcyon Witness. 4 and 2 planes, that's expensive, for a 4/4 lifelinker, but you can pay for exchange your life total with Evra Halcyon Witness's power. So, comes into play next turn, exchange your life total, so this becomes a 20/20, your life is a 4/4, attack with it, gain 20, your life's up to 24, and hopefully this did 20 points of damage and the game is over or almost over for you. Cool.
I'll keep it in mind. But if you want to
All right.
I'll do this one. I'm doing the 6.
Ooh, Daring Archaeologist. 3 and a white. For a 3/3, when it enters the battlefield, you may return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. And whenever you cast a historic spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Daring Archaeologist. That could be fun. Ooh, and Garna the Bloodflame. 3, a swamp, and a mountain. It's a 3/3 with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from anywhere this turn. Other creatures you control have haste. So someone fumigates, you flash this in, return all the creature cards from the graveyard to your hand, and then you've got a creature on the field, and all other creatures have haste. That's awesome. I would hate for that thing to come down on me. Situational, but wicked situational. Okay, Knight of the New Dominaria. Let's see what's in your pack. It's a very good common. Spore Crown Thallid. Each other creature you control, it's a fungus or sapling, gets +1/+1. Ooh, Goblin Chain Whirler, goodie. So it's 3 mountains for a 3/3 first striker. When it enters the battlefield, does 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control. That is awesome. Llanowar Envoy. 2 in a forest, 3/2, add 1 forest, or add 1 mana of any color. That could be handy. Tiana, Ship's Caretaker. 3, a mountain, and a plains for a 3/3 flying first striker. And again, you can return ores and equipment to your hand. Interestingly enough, there aren't a ton of equipments in this set, which, so I guess like in the next set, hopefully there will be, which will be the core set, I guess. Okay, another Benelish. Fungal Plots, On Sarah's Wings, overpriced, don't need it. Precognition Field. You may look at the top card of your library. You may cast the top card of your library if it's an instant or a sorcery. For 3, you can exile the top card of your library. That could be handy. Yargle, Glutton of Urborg. It's 4 and a swamp for a 9/3. I guess if you can hit with it once, it's worth its mana, but that 3 defense is kind of sucky. And there's no trample on it, so I don't think it's a good card. Not even in sealed. Sarah Angel, Damping Sphere. Thran Temporal Gateway. 4, it's a legendary artifact. And you can pay 4, tap it, and put a historic permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Again, a build around, but very cool. Wrath Caption Ship's Mage. Oh, I think we've seen these guys before. Boring. Okay. Alright. A few more packs and we're 2/3 of the way done, and we yet to see Karn. Karn! Okay. Love it. Champion of the Flame. Trample. +2/+2 for... No, it's 2 for a 1/1. Big deal. Oh, Merfolk Trickster. Seal Away. I think this is going to be very popular in white decks going forward. And Torgar, Famine Incarnate. So it's 6 and 2 swamps for 7/6. But you can sacrifice any number of creatures, and that reduces the cost by 2 for each creature sacrificed this way. And when it enters the battlefield, up to 1 target player's life total becomes half their starting life total rounded down. Again, build around. You're going to be looking for some kind of ramp, or just like saprolings that you can sacrifice to pay that off quickly. Might be really... Oh, anywhere else. Might be good in a token deck. That's your finisher on round 4. Oh, Juggernaut again. Ooh, the Mirari Conjecture. 4 and an island. 1, return target instant card from your graveyard to your hand. 2, return target sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. And 3, until end of turn, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. I guess as long as you can keep your graveyard together. And Whisper Blood Liturgist. Yeah. Okay. Okay, this is the last pack for the second third. Come on, Karn. Come on, buddy. Time of Ice. Nice. Sage of Latnam. Kamal's Druidic Vow. X and 2 forests. Look at the top X cards of your library. You may put any number of land and or legendary permanent cards with converted mana X cost or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest into your graveyard. You can do something with this. Sealed? Not so much. Another Arvid the Cursed. Okay, we're into the last third. Okay. Memorial to Folly, Wild Onslaught, Two-Headed Giant. 2 and 2 mountains for a 4/4, and whenever he attacks, flip 2 coins. If both coins come up heads, he gets double strike. If both coins come up tails, he gains menace. Fun. Invoke the Divine, Danitha. Okay. I haven't really seen some okay cards in here, but I want a Karn. I would like a Teferi. I would like the Saga that's going to give me Knights. Whatever that's called. I forget what it's called off the top of my head. Oh, okay. Destroy all lands. Each player returns 2 land cards from the graveyard to the battlefield. And Valda, Keeper of the Flame. So at the beginning of combat on your turn, for each Orin equipment attached to him, create a 3/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste. Exile those tokens at the beginning of the next end step. That's nasty. Oh, that fun. Okay. Ooh, Merfolk Soldier, 4 and an island for a 3/3 flash. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile target permanent you control. If you do, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. That'd be good to use with one of those sagas. Curator's Ward. Lich Mastery, 3 and 3 swamps. It is hexproof. You can't lose the game. When you gain life, draw that many cards. When you lose life, for each life you lose, exile a permanent you control or a card from your hand or graveyard. When Lich's Mastery leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. That's a dangerous card. Quende, Pride of Fermouth, Human Knight, 3 and planes for a 2/2 double strike, and creatures with you control with first strike have double strike. Fun, but again in sealed, not going to happen. But I can see that making somebody's deck in standard.
Like I imagine you can burst pretty quick.
We've seen that. Yes! Haha! Okay. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. So 3, a plains, and an island. He comes in with 4 loyalty. His +1 is draw a card at the beginning of the next step, end step, untap 2 lands. His -3 is put target non-land permanent into its owner's library, third from the top. And -8, you get an emblem with whenever you draw a card, exile target permanent an opponent controls. Boom! Goes the dynamite. Woo! And Urgos, the empty one. 4 and 2 swamps for a 4/3 flyer. When it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card at random. If the player can't, you draw a card. That's fun. Now, in this pack is my Karn Planeswalker.
If you're meant to look at them individually, it will take like
Phyrexian Scriptures. It's a mythic. 2 and 2 swamps. So 1 is put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. That creature becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. 2, destroy all non-artifact creatures. 3, exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. This could be handy. And Halar the Fire Fletcher, 1, a mountain, and a forest for a 3/3 trampler. Whenever you cast a spell, if that spell was kicked, put a +1/+1 counter. Kicker's too expensive to be dependable. Oh, there's the 3/1 elemental token. Trample and haste. We're getting down there. We got our Teferi. Still need a Mox Amber, though, and a Karn. Come on, magic gods. Okay, Naven, Dean of Iteration, legendary human wizard, 1 and an island for a 2/1, and if a wizard entering the battlefield under my control causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Build around. You could do something nice with that in standard. I don't think it would be that good in sealed, and I keep talking about sealed just because it's pre-release right now, right behind me. Okay. Nice. Nice. Yeah. Okay. Oh! Virix Bladewing, 2 and 2 swamps, 2 mountains, with a kicker of 3, so it's a 4/4 flyer, and when it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create on Karox Bladewing, a legendary 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. Beast. Beast. Oh, hey. Here's a 0/1 cleric. Okay, let's go.
Do you want to live like these?
Mishra Self-Replicator, 5 for a 2/2. Whenever you cast a historic spell, you may pay 1. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Mishra Self-Replicator. Man. And Adeliz the Cinder Wind. 1, a swamp, and an island for a 2/2 flyer with haste. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, wizards you control get +1/+1 until end of turn, and that would include her. She'd be pumping herself. That's awesome. That didn't come out right. That sounds wrong. Okay. Time of Ice. Tap target creature an opponent controls. It doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Time of Ice. That's for 1 and 2, and then the third stage is return all tap creatures to their owner's hand. Pretty cool. Settle the score. Ooh, Jasu Ves Lich Knight. 2 and 2 swamped for a 4/5. Kicker 6. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create 8/2/2 black zombie knight creature tokens with menace. And Tetsuko Umezawa Fugitive. 1 and an island for 1/3 creatures you control with power or toughness. 1 or less can't be blocked. I can see that being very pesty. I'm going to put it in the good pile, because even though it's an uncommon, it makes me happy. Okay, 3 packs left. 3 packs. And 1, 2, foil. Oh, Teshar, Ancestor's Apostle. 3 and a white for a 2/2 flyer. Whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. 2 packs left. Karn's going to be in one and Mox Amber's going to be in the other. It's going to be fantastic. This is the ending you've all been waiting for. Are you ready? Nope. Oh, another merfolk. Oh, 3, a forest, and an island. It's a 3/3. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life and draw a card. That's a good ability. Last pack. It's going to have Mox Amber and Karn in it. Okay. Here we go. The first eruption. 2 and a mountain. Stage 1. First eruption deals 1 damage to each creature without flying. Stage 2, you can add 2 mountains. And 3, sacrifice a mountain. If you do, the first eruption deals 3 damage to each creature. That's okay. It's not what I wanted, though. Okay, so that's it. If you have any questions or comments, throw them down below. I'll answer you as best I can. And you can look for some of the other pre-release openings I'll be doing this weekend, because I'll be cracking them open. And I'll only show you the best ones. I'm not going to show you all 6. I'll just show you the ones that blow my mind, or, you know, are decent. Anyway, until next time, I'll see you here on Dungeon Miser. Dungeon Miser, out.